Why do we suffer? In human experience, we go through trials and tribulations. We have experiences of hardship. We have anxiety. We have distress. And we have depression. We also are discovering many people have trauma in their history and suffer from these mental anguishes later on in life. Why does that happen? This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Today I'm going to talk to you about why we suffer as human beings. And first, when we talk about, or why I talk about suffering, is because in today's time, during this month of June, it's mental health awareness for men, men's health. So many men are suffering from loneliness and distress, anxiety and depression. I think women are too. This applies to both genders. Why do we suffer as human beings? Well, I think a lot of us of what we call suffering is just a part of life. There's a certain degree of pain that we experience that's simply just a part of life. When we think of suffering, we think of anguish. We think of hardship. We think of physical pain, like breaking an arm, spraining an ankle. We think of disease, like having a heart attack, Alzheimer's, like they're suffering. Like we feel sympathy for them. Failure, losing a job, losing a house, a breakup of a relationship, heartache, that's suffering. Or is it? I mean, half the things we think of as suffering is really just a state or an experience of discomfort. What suffering really is a state of dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction with life, with ourselves, with circumstance. A dissatisfaction that can turn into a resentment. You see, we human beings have needs. We have the need for safety. We have the need for certainty, which is really a need for comfort. We have a need to belong, to feel loved, which turns into the need of approval. We have a need for significance, which is really confidence. We have a need for contribution, a sense of giving, an altruistic part of ourselves. They call it spiritual, that wants to contribute and matter and make a difference in life. Maybe not to the world, but just to the people around us. We have that desire. That's something in us, a purpose. When that doesn't get expressed, we suffer. We have these needs. We have a need to grow. If you don't grow, you stay the same person, your life doesn't change, and your life doesn't really improve. There is great satisfaction in growing and learning. When you accomplish something, it's not just the accomplishment, it was the process by which you got there. That is the reward. When you look back at all the hard work you've done, it wouldn't be worth it with all that hard work. And all that hard work, it wasn't pleasurable. Some of it was just a grind. Is that grind really a suffering? Or is that grind, that distress, or I should say stress, just a part of life? That you got to suck it up and just live with it. Because life was never meant to make you feel comfortable all of the time. It's a little ridiculous to think that everybody, or I should say you have the right to demand that everybody make you feel comfortable. It just is irrational. It's unrealistic. It is unrealistic for everyone to make you feel safe. Well, it isn't really irrational. It isn't real to feel afraid of something that is not threatening you, simply challenging you. We call that suffering, but is that really suffering? There's a dissatisfaction. A dissatisfaction with the outcome of your life. An unfulfilled expectation. Unmet expectations are the biggest cause of upset. Either they were thwarted, your expectations were thwarted, circumstance just slapped you in the face, nobody fulfilled an agreement, there was a breakdown in agreement, people didn't live up to the agreements that you thought they would live up to, they let you down. Or unmet circumstances beyond your control. Sometimes things just don't work out. The weather just isn't good. It's raining, so you don't go on the hike. There's nothing you can do about it. The upset is because your demands were not met. Your unfathomable, unreasonable, irrational demands. The demand for certainty, which is the demand for comfort. Often us human beings get mad at people, at each other, and circumstance for not meeting our needs. I don't like you because you don't make me feel safe. I don't like you because you don't make me feel comfortable. I feel uncomfortable around you. I mean, how many times have you not liked a person simply because you're not comfortable, because they challenge you? Now, is that suffering? Is that person supposed to make you feel comfortable all of the time? Is everybody supposed to be likable, in a good mood, playful, charismatic, charming, and entertaining, insightful all of the time? Life can't be what you want it to be all of the time. And clinging to a sense of comfort, clinging to a sense of safety, clinging to a sense of change when there is no change, clinging to a sense of importance, self-importance, significance, when you're really not that significant. These kind of irrational ideas and notions we have, these greater, larger than life demands that we place upon ourselves and one another, creates a lot of upset. Most of the emotional upset that we have is our own doing, is our own creation. Yet we want to blame other people and circumstance as to why we feel upset. It's easier to blame. It's easier to just let my mind react rather than exercise self-control, rather than cultivate wisdom, rather than cultivate integrity, rather than cultivate a sense of character. It's easier to blame. That's why we suffer. Now, you put your hand in a hot stove, it's going to burn no matter what. You slip and fall and sprain your ankle, that's going to hurt no matter what. You get a strep throat and your throat burns, it's going to hurt no matter what. You find your girlfriend cheating on you, your husband cheating on you, that's going to hurt no matter what. You know, if the buildings, you're in a building and the building's burning and everyone's running for the exit and you're just sitting there like nothing's happening, you're the one with the problem. There are certain human characteristics that are normal, that are supposed to be there. You should panic when the building is on fire and look for the nearest exit and run as fast as you can. That's the normal response. You find your spouse cheating on you, you lose a job. There should be an upset. It's a pretty big moment, a huge drastic change. Now, if you're one of those who are super resilient, then more power to you. Hoorah, hooray, congratulations. But it's normal to get upset over certain things. There's a certain level of suffering that's just a part of life. That you've got to love the good and the bad. You got to roll with the punches. The suffering is really a dissatisfaction. A dissatisfaction with yourself and a dissatisfaction with circumstance. And that arises because your ideas about it were all wrong. There was a misunderstanding, if you will, a miscomprehension that created the expectation, the unmet expectation, the demand in the first place. When you figure out how to make yourself feel safe, when you have the distinction, the discernment between what is truly dangerous and what is challenging, and to know the difference, that something may make you feel uncomfortable because it's challenging. Well, you step up to the plate and you learn. You grab the bull by its horn and you wrestle it. In other words, cowardice and timidness will lead to suffering. Unwillingness to learn, being stubborn, will lead to suffering. Intolerance, just expecting everything to go your way, to get what you want, when you want it, how you want it, and get upset when it isn't, when it's anything but that, you're just acting like a spoiled, rotten brat. You can't go around acting like that and expect to have a happy life. You're going to be upset a lot. There's certain common sense things in life that you're late for work, you do it enough, you're going to get fired. It's just the nature of life. Axe falls down, chops your hand off, it's going to hurt. Put your hand on a hot coal, it's going to hurt. It's the nature of life. So don't do it. The dissatisfaction that people experience are caused by these unreasonable demands because you have a miscomprehension of life. Because there is an ignorance. There is a not knowing. There is a level of clinging and aversion. You're clinging to your notion. You're clinging to past experience of comfort. And you're having an aversion to anything that challenges that state of comfort. Because you're unwilling to change. You're unwilling to adapt. Becoming adaptive. When you experience things that are challenging and you're timid, and it's not life-threatening, it's because you're timid. You need to cultivate courage. You can't play victim all the time. Playing victim, it's such a pathetic state of being helpless, knowing that you're helpless, knowing that you can do something and choosing not to. An unwillingness to learn. If a ball is being thrown at your head, you're either going to catch it or move out of the way. There's a saying in Zen, the guy went into the middle of the street and the truck hit me. Oh yeah, well, why'd you walk in the middle of the street? You walked in front of a truck driving down the road. What'd you expect it to do? Stop on a dime? I mean, there's certain practical matters, a practical, pragmatic understanding of life that when not applied, brings suffering. But you just got to get your head screwed on straight and become aware, start to think, become conscious. Use your mind. Become conscious. Become aware. Don't walk around unaware. Don't play dumb. There's a lot of people who play dumb because they don't want to take accountability. It's an easy way out. Most suffering is by your own doing. This is the whole point of this. You cause your own suffering through your unwillingness to change, your unwillingness to grow. You want to play helpless and victim rather than taking action and producing courage. Instead of taking responsibility, it's easier to blame everybody. It's a very lazy way of being. There's no reward in being lazy, being timid, and being unwilling. And playing dumb. So when you really think about things, you can't get upset that it rains. You can't get upset that you did not know how to communicate effectively to create agreement and commitment in another person and they let you down because you didn't test their integrity. You follow what I'm saying. There are certain actions to take when you become wiser. You become older and wiser and don't make those same mistakes. It is through the cultivation of wisdom that you overcome suffering. And with wisdom, you have clarity, you have understanding. You know the nature of the circumstance, so you know how to play your hand right. You play your hand well. You lose with graciousness, and you win with humility. You respect your opponent. You're willing to put in the time, the effort. You're willing to wake up early because the early bird catches the worm. There's no one else to blame but yourself. Inaction, timidness, stubbornness, unwillingness to learn, refusal to adapt. That's the cause of your suffering. So give up the blame game. Stop playing victim. Start taking charge of your life. Start applying these principles. And you'll get ahead. And accept the normal pains of life. Every time you twist your ankle, it's going to hurt. It's just a part of life. Every time you get 3 hours of sleep, your day is going to be difficult. So get a better night's sleep, go to sleep early. Anytime you're not prepared for the next day, you're going to flounder around. Prepare for the next day, be prepared. There are certain wisdoms in life that you just need to start applying. And you won't suffer. And you want to experience satisfaction. It was another level of being called authenticity. No one can ever be happy being inauthentic. It takes a lot of energy faking it, hiding behind a false persona, a false bravado, putting on a show for people. Every night when you fall asleep, you're going to be miserable. Find your sense of authenticity. Find your core values, what truly matters to you, what you truly care about, what truly puts a smile on your face, and do it. And you will find satisfaction in your life. Find your integrity. Find out what it means to carry yourself with integrity, and you will experience satisfaction in your life, right living, an honest living, and you'll be satisfied. Discover patience, discover courage, discover diligence, and you'll find satisfaction in your life. If you find yourself suffering, you're challenged with your career, and you're just stuck at a crossroads, you don't know where to go, because when you're stuck at work, you're stuck in your career, you have blind spots. You're not aware of what's holding you back, and you need someone else to point them out. You're not going to find them on your own. You need a third-person perspective. I can help you do that. That's what coaches are for. Michael Jordan didn't become great without a coach. Go ahead and leave my contact information will be below the video. Go ahead and leave a comment so we can create engagement. If you have any questions, I will respond. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening.